everyone. Maybe finish. Alan, just waiting folks to come.
How's it going?
We can hear you, Pete. Hey, Karen. Okay. Let's just wait another 30 seconds and then we'll get started.
Okay.
So, okay, I think we can get going. Pete, as usual, can you kick us off, please?
Yeah, sounds great. Thanks everyone for joining. As a reminder, there's a code of conduct for the llm-d community. You can find a link to that in the community meeting notes, which are pasted into the chat. Join us in Slack if you haven't been able to join yet. That's where all of the conversations are happening. And I just want to let everyone know that, remind everyone, I should say, about the New York City meetup in March 11th. So that's a few weeks away. There is a link for it in the community notes to the Luma page that we've got set up for that. Please share with your networks if you see it on the social media, on the llm-d sites, on Twitter and Blue Sky and LinkedIn. Feel free to share that out. But yeah, share it with your networks if you know folks in the area or are going to be in town. Please join us. It's looking like it's going to be a great time, and you know, looking to get a great turnout there. So yeah, that's all I've got. I'll pass it back over to you, Carlos.
Very good. So hi, everyone. Once again, let's see if there is anybody new here, but if you're new, welcome to this forum. We do open forum first and then seek updates. We do have one big topic today. So we'll start with that one because we are very actually pleased to share firsthand some very big step that this project is taking, share firsthand with the community. So llm-d decided to take the big step of going to a foundation. So what you see over the next couple of weeks, our application to a CNCF sandbox project with announcement at KubeCon Europe on the keynote. Of course, this is the response to all the energy and attraction that this project is taking. It's reaching a lot of places, and this is a very big step to show that this is about community, making space for others also to contribute and set us for even bigger growth. So we're super happy. Again, this is being announced firsthand, but you guys see more news, so stay tuned in the actual announcement happening at KubeCon in 4 weeks. So stay tuned. If there is any questions, anything, again, feel free to ask here offline. And again, this is because of the whole community. So also big thank you to all of you. And you see how this will also help us to continue to grow and again, attract more. Of course, so there are many questions like why this and that foundation. I think we're trailblazers in many ways. And I think finding the right place when you actually doing something new is always hard, but we're being very welcome in CNCF, and we do believe that we can also grow and again, open new spaces in that foundation. So wanted to start with that. Again, stay tuned, more to come, and ask you all to kind of join us to celebrate this big step. And again, more news to come. I don't see maybe Rob and Clayton, if you guys here. I don't know if you want to say a few words.
No, it's a good summary. Very exciting. So.
Yes, this is a long time in the making, and again, we're just excited that we're taking the step, and again, things will get even more exciting. So thank you all. With that, I guess I open for questions and the topics that you guys might have. Okay, very good. So let's, Abdullah, yeah, go ahead.
Why not PyTorch?
Yes, I was hoping somebody would see that question. So thanks, Abdullah, for doing that. Yeah, so I think the answer would be giving, and of course, we talked to, of course, PyTorch Foundation as well. Very close friends, a lot of energy happening there. And I think the short answer is that there is no perfect home for AI platform right now, right? So if you see, right, we kind of overlap across the two. It's hard just to, again, find the perfect home. We wanted to be closer to like platform, some of our core audience, which is not like, again, a perfect overlap with CNCF, but we felt like we could grow there. And to be very honest, I think we can actually serve as a bridge between these two foundations, and that's how we're setting things up. And we hope that things will evolve in that way. So again, not the perfect home, but we felt like CNCF would be a place where we could start, grow, and even help to shape some of that bridge, right? So this is the challenge, and that extends to all of us. So, Pete?
Yeah, just one point on the PyTorch thing. There also is an opportunity to be part of the PyTorch ecosystem, which is not necessarily part of that foundation, but still part of that community. So I think that's another option or goal for us as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, I think the goal long term is, of course, to, as much as possible, be a bridge between these foundations. I think everything is kind of shaping up now. So again, I mean, like I said, we are kind of exploring new spaces here. And I mean, when you do that, again, it won't be like a perfect fit at first, but hey, it's up to us to help also shape that space. And I think we're getting off to a great start. And as Pete said, there is an opportunity to even kind of also be somehow in two places. It might take time, but something that we're also exploring. Sally?
Yeah, I just want to mention Greg and I have a talk that was accepted at PyTorch. So at least there's that. Also, I think the bridge is what is exactly needed. And for the past 15 years, we've been showing how to deploy applications securely and in trusted way on Kubernetes. And now they're finally at the point where we're going to be running AI applications at scale for enterprise for real. And Kubernetes is exactly where all of this should run. There is no other place. So I think it's really important that it's there actually.
Great. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Neely?
Yeah, just on that notion, we have also accepted talks in several accepted talks in KubeCon, and we have 6 accepted talks in PyTorch. So I think we have visibility and on all.
Yeah.
I think it's even more talks in PyTorch overall, Carlos, for
Yeah.
llm-d, my understanding.
Yeah.
Yes, only 6 that the ones that vetted, with the team, the scheduler, the KV, uploading,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, no, thank you that you guys brought this up, because yeah, so we've seen like traction and again resonance across these two foundations. So like a total of 6, I think, as Neely said, of llm-d specific talks, the PyTorch conference in Europe. So again, I mean, all the signals are there. I think again, we just need to accelerate and keep pushing, because again, we got to a lot of these spaces. Marty?
Yeah, I agree with what Sally said there. When you look at it and the way the platform is, being near to Kubernetes and citing the CNCF is really a very good fit. Just coming back to what Abdullah said around PyTorch, the foundations aren't that far away from each other anymore. We've seen in the last year or so, Open Infra has folded into the Linux Foundation, which is something, I talked with Thierry Carrez a couple of years ago and I brought it up. And at the time, he was quite a bit touchy about it. But in time to come, then it did come into the community. And you can see that Matt White has now come over from PyTorch into the Linux Foundation. And I can't remember who was on the way back then from the Linux Foundation into PyTorch. So there's a lot of overlap there. I think the great thing for the community here is that it is going out into a community. It's going into a foundation because it brings all those positivities with it.
All right. So yeah, great. And maybe we are the vectors to help accelerate that. So no is more challenge. Very good. So let's get back to work. Yes. So let's go to SIG updates, if you guys don't mind. And again, I mean, if you have another question, feel free to chime in. As usual, we'll start with SIG installation. So over to you, Marcio.
So Okay, so a couple of announcements here. So we did a lot of work, and Diego and Greg, right? We now have this. We try to standardize all the community governance files, DCO sign off across the repositories, other community files. We're finishing it, but it's important to have this uniformity now. About the nightly deployments for the guides. So we have the 3 main clusters where we're testing it: OpenShift, CoreWeave, and Google. Right now, the coverage is not uniform, but we're working very hard to have a uniform coverage nightly for all the guides. We are getting there. We are more than halfway there. For the build and image fixes, we are trying to, again, make the process more streamlined, less prone to errors. So we have several different small updates for transient things. The status of the image to v051 RC4 has been successfully built. We don't want to repeat of what happened before with v005. We are making sure that's what we have. And we have a release document that we're going to refining to get the release still on a schedule for tomorrow, v051.
Right. Great. Thank you, Marcio. I don't know if Greg is giving the next update or.
Sure. I mean, anyone can chime in too. I know Andy's been pretty involved here, but I just wanted to give a high-level overview that we have some image build refactors that we're also looking at, that we're kind of scoping outside of the v051 release. So we're going to try and keep things stable until we get there, and we can look to pull in a lot new work while we work towards 0.6. And then again, that we are very close to being able to start the process for release engineering on v051. We have a little bit of outstanding work on guide integration for tracing, and DP aware YDP still needs to make its way in, but overall we're looking pretty good for progress towards release.
Great. Thanks, Greg. Any questions for CI/CD and installation? All right, let's go to PD disaggregation. I believe Tyler is here.
Yeah. So just came out of the VLM large sales serving sync, which is right before this biweekly. One thing there is like the NVIDIA team is working to put like fault tolerant support for communicators into PyTorch. I know I have a roadmap for this. That was one of the things discussed. I am working on me and my team, as well as some folks from Oracle and AMD are working on PD disag on ROCm. So we've got a ROCm PD well-lit path coming out of this work stream. And we're seeing some nice speed ups from PD on Llama 370B and GPT OSS 120B. We'll report those once I can and have more like final numbers. But then I think so I brought up last week, we need better tooling around PD configuration. So I've spun my tooling around this into its own repo, right? So this is like just file harnesses around llm-d. So not something I want to try to push anywhere, but I think we can take the things I'm doing and try to get them into SIG benchmarking. So trying to put this into a presentable repo here. On YDP, we've been making progress on GB200. So we are seeing 14K tokens per second per GPU at EP16. This is using the decode bench connector. So we're not doing PD and we're not getting the right answer. So we have to use uniform random expert routing. So also no EPLB, and we have perfect load balance. So big grains of salt around this 14K number, but we're making progress. I think the forward pass looks good is the main thing here. For EPLB, we have a plausible fix for async EPLB hangs when using DPP. So we can turn on EPLB async and then hopefully still have a low P99 ITL in this case. And we also have a fix for NVFP4 EPLB that's will end soon. One thing I'll mention is we have really almost perfect load imbalance during benchmarking using DP aware scheduling now, which is really great to see. And just something Rob tracked down, active request score is like really key here for these cases. Just for this, like we want to, the key thing is we want to keep the number of running requests across the decode instances the same. This gives us that.
Right. Yeah, it's really tons of progress. Any question, comments? Alan?
This is maybe more technical than the community call wants, but if I remember right, that's because we want to keep the engines equally loaded, right? That's why active request score matters so much.
Yeah. So like they're not doing any pre-fills. There shouldn't be any queuing. So like the queue score is useless here. Like you're never going to see queuing unless it's really, really bad on the decoders. But then the pre-fill, we want to have like really different metrics.
But I just want to make a quick comment on this. So like the key issue that we have with our current setup for PD is that we make the decision about the P and D worker at the beginning of the transaction. And so what this means is when we're making the decision, if the prefill takes 10 seconds, like we have basically a late view of and in particular, like requests will have been shadow scheduled onto the decode worker in that cycle. So active request score actually gets around this because it is tracking open connections. So it has like a view into the future of the amount of concurrency on each pod with like the things that have already been scheduled onto that particular decode worker, which is why it works way better than like KV cache utilization or like the running queue from the Prometheus metrics. I actually kind of view this as like somewhat brittle, but like it's basically a way to get around the like delayed decision, like the timing mismatch between when the scheduling decision is made and when the request actually lands on the pod.
But
because we know
I'm not running PD. It matters even for the pure decode case. So it's not just that latency. There's more to it.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I'll take this to the call. Sorry to interrupt the community.
Thanks, folks. Thanks, Colin. Okay, so maybe let's move on to inference scheduler. Nili?
So as I said, we have 6 talks, 3 or more specific on the scheduling, YDP, one with also with Tyler Maroon, and one about the chunked decoding. Release candidate is expected to be today or tomorrow, following the one of the IGW. We are doing performance soak tests. We have for the data layer, moving it from the feature flag. We have good initial indication of performance, still validating that once it's done. We will remove the feature flag from the data layer. EPD disaggregation, we released a proposal. It's published today in the C call. We will also show a working proof of concept of the EPD mode. Again, this is initial work. There is support in vLLM that we are utilizing, but we have initial proof of concept working. And again, in general, we are working on multimodality on a broader perspective, not only the scheduler, but also in the KV disaggregation.
I just want to add, we're also making good progress with NVIDIA Dynamo integration with EPP, basically running the Dynamo router through EPP, which allows the Dynamo router to be, installed as an inference gateway router. So it will plug into Kubernetes gateways. So that's another thing that we've been working on. The framework in general proved to be like, flexible enough to allow us to integrate, basically. So that's a big win here. We're also making progress on the pluggable parser, request parser. We've defined the APIs, the extension points, I guess, in the framework. What this allows us to do is right now we hard code into OpenAI protocol. We're moving that piece into an extension point and encapsulate it in a plugin. For example, someone who wants to install the gateway in front of their own custom module server and they use their own custom gRPC, they can implement a small plugin that knows how to parse the request into their own format, and everything else will just work. Basically, we have a contract. What should they provide to us after the parsing? Like we need the prompt, etc. And so that would allow us more flexibility as well. We've got few customers who have their own proprietary protocols this work will unblock them.
Yeah, thanks, Abdullah. Anything else for scheduler?
Sorry, Maroon, just real quick. I think Abdullah and Bob's work can't be understated. I think it essentially makes EPP a composable component with any inference setup. You don't have to assume OpenAI. So it's really cool. Just wanted to clarify that. But anyways, go ahead, Maroon.
Arun?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I do want to hear more on the timeline, waiting for that feature. And one note on the EPD session in the scheduler meeting. So it will be a bit more educational. So if you're not familiar with the multimodal pipeline, you should join and hear the lecture. So just pointing that out.
Yeah, also in VLLM, explaining a bit, touching on how it's done currently in VLLM, because there is disaggregation in VLLM and how we are planning or what we did to test it, to do the disaggregation of encoding, pre-fill decoding in the scheduler.
Yeah. Very good. Should we move to PV disaggregation a bit behind today? Let's see if we can get to the end. Maroon?
Yeah, so there's a list of PyTorch talks accepted. If you're there, we'll be happy to see you. Especially there is one on disaggregated tokenization, more of a discussion. So that one will be interesting. I also want to update that Song is joining us as a maintainer. He's been contributing massively across, not only in the KV Cache repo, but pushing this work stream and features all across llm-d. So happy to have him as a maintainer. We published a blog on KV cache offloading to any file system with llm-d. It's a good read on file system offloading. Give it a look. Maybe Dan, do you want to expand a bit on that, or?
I have not too much. Go read the blog, but it's just a general connector that will give you very good performance with any file system. So it's it could be local, and then it's to basically any LLM node connected to this local node. You'll have sharing across all these nodes, and of course, if it's shared file system across many nodes, that'll work too. We have very decent performance on these, very competitive with what's out there. So read the blog and try out the connector. It's very simple to use with your file system.
Yeah, thank you.
On any comments? If not, I'll continue. So on tokenization, we're in final stages in the transition to the UDS tokenization service, pretty much just testing and hardening. The tracing work that Sally and Greg have been pushing was merged. We published a proposal on speculative indexing and generally a 3 phases plan to the effective unification of the KV cache or prefix cache aware scores we have in the llm-d ecosystem to get wins from both approaches and keep it, operationally simple and automatic. And one final update, the KV events abstraction work has a draft open. Give it a look. Give the design a look if you haven't. A key piece for integration with other engines or with inference engines through KV events. I left some shout outs here for open work in case someone is also considering these directions to reach out, but we'll be publishing docs pretty soon. Okay, I'm leaving it to the.
Right. Thanks, Maroon. Very good. Let's go to benchmarking.
So V0, very quick, V05 built tomorrow, tagging V051 for llm-d CUDA. We have now a work stream to automatically translate the guides. Apparently it was decided that the guides will be customized. Of course, we cannot use customize as this for benchmarking. We have our own deployment. We have an automated translation mechanism now that we are perfect. We have some additional automation to start pods with different VLLM parameters when they are the same deployment lead workstation. I can talk more about that in the other meet, but it was very useful for several different benchmarks. And finally, one thing that has been plaguing us for a long time, having a service account with restricted permissions to deploy llm-d stacks without having to give everybody who shared clusters cluster.
Great. All right. Thank you, Marcio. Observability, Sally?
Yeah, the tracing work is finally being merged today, yesterday, and we're working on the docs. Big goal is to make it very easy and clear to enable, and that's what we're working on to finish the feature up, and looking forward to everyone trying it. And yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Sally. Auto scaling.
Yeah. I hope you can hear me. So we're making progress on several fronts. So the saturation-based algorithm is getting like new kind of changes. So previously saturation focused on reducing queuing. Now there's something called as token-based saturation mechanism where we focus really on the throughput and latency, right? So that is what is being implemented, and the PR is in progress. We are also evaluating on using of simulated llm-d's simulator instances to run benchmarks on WVA on laptops, basically any laptops, and there is a progress there, and we found few issues with the code base that we are fixing as we run more benchmarks. There is a new integration that is happening with CADA for WBA. So previously it supported HPA only. Now it does support CADA. So the PR is in progress. Past couple of weeks, our E2Es are refactored, and there is usually a 2x speed up in how we run our E2Es. There's an open telemetry tracing PR that is open on WVA that is slated for v0.5.1 release, and that would be merged soon. And then lastly, there is another new functionality wherein WVA can discover PND instances, and that PR is also in progress, and it's open. So there lots of progress, and that's it from me.
Okay. Thanks, Abhishek. Do you have Praveen here for the network stack update?
Yes, Carlos. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah, so a few things that happened last week. One thing was the TCP support was merged into UCL, and now we have a corresponding Nixel PR for enabling the TCP support in the UCL backend. Hopefully, it will be merged this week. And then we plan to do some performance benchmarking, comparing the TCP support in UCX versus UCL. The other one is the intranode GPU-CPU transfer using the CUDA memcopy async APIs. That is also merged in UCL, and now we have work in progress to get that supported in the Nixel as well. So once that is there in Nixel, we can plan to have VLLM, see how VLLM can be changed to have just an Nixel connector for both the GPU CPU as well as the GPU to GPU communication. And finally, this is more of a release for the UCL since we don't have an official release yet, so we are working on one, the first release for UCL, which can be used for Nixel or llm-d in future.
All right. Great. Thanks, Praveen. Right on time. So yeah, I think that's all for today. Thank you all. Stay tuned for very busy weeks ahead for llm-d, and I see you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye all.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.